I'd let you die, Jara said. Him never. The next attack came at dawn. Von's voice boomed through the Biodome's comms, sweetened to mimic Tessa. Mother, help me. Jara froze mid-sword drill. The children stared, drones forgotten. It's a trick, Mara said, but her hands shook. Ren stepped forward, glowing. I'll fix it. No, Jara and Mara shouted in unison. Too late, Ren synced with the comms, his light surging into the system. The dome shuddered. Panels exploded, raining shards as Von's true voice roared. Got you. The central reactor destabilized. Radiation alarms blared. Seal the tree, Jara ordered, shoving children into the core. Mara grabbed Ren. What were you thinking? I heard her, tears streaked his glowing cheeks. Aunt Tessa's alive. Jara's hybrid heart stalled. In the chaos, Dr. Soren worked. She grafted biocode into the reactor, her vines tangling with corrupted wires. I can reroute the core, but I need time. Buy it, Jara said, tossing her a pulse rifle. I'm a scientist. Now you're a soldier. Jara sprinted to the perimeter, where Von's latest creation clawed at the shields. A titan of fused drones, its core a pulsing black sun. You'll never save her, Von's voice taunted. Tessa's mine now. Jara's blades met the titan's claws. Liar. Am I? The titan's chest split open, revealing a hollow chamber and a flickering figure inside. Tessa. Or a perfect copy. Chapter 9. The titan's chest cavity pulsed, its jagged ribs parting like iron petals to reveal Tessa's flickering form. She reached for Jara, her voice a static-laced whisper. Mother, please. Jara's blades trembled. A trick. It's always a trick. But her hybrid heart clawed up her throat, gold-code blood roaring in her ears. You're not her, Jara snarled, driving her blade into the titan's core. The machine shrieked, Tessa's hologram distorting into Von's laughing face. But you hesitated. How human of you. The titan exploded. Jara flew backward, shrapnel shredding her hybrid flesh. She hit the Biodome's shield wall as alarms wailed. Reactor critical, 3 minutes to meltdown. Dr. Soren crouched in the reactor chamber, her biocode vines withering under the radiation bleed. The core's cracks glowed white-hot, searing her human skin. I need Ren, she shouted into her comm. His empathy factor can stabilize the... Mara's voice crackled back, over my corpse. You'll get both if you don't. The comm died. Ren huddled in the great tree's hollow, his glow reduced to a sickly amber. Mara barred the entrance, her salvaged pulse rifle trained on the chaos outside. This is my fault, he whispered. No, Mara didn't look at him. It's hers, for making you think you're a weapon. I am a weapon, he stood, fists clenched. Let me fix this. Mara's grip tightened on the rifle. You're a child. And you're scared, his glow flared, biocode roots snaking toward her. But I'm not. The roots yanked the rifle away. Ren darted past her into the smoke. Jara limped toward the reactor, her wounds knitting and unraveling in cycles. Von's laughter trailed her, oozing from every speaker. You'll die as you lived, failing everyone. She silenced him with a blade through a holopanel. Dr. Soren met her at the chamber door, half her face blistered from radiation. Ren's the only way, you know that. No. Then say goodbye to the Biodome and Tessa's ghost. Jara froze. What? Dr. Soren pulled up a flickering readout. The reactor's core wasn't just power, it housed a neural imprint. Tessa. Von didn't just taunt you, Dr. Soren said. He baited you, her codes trapped in there. Jara stared at the core. 3 minutes. To save her daughter's echo or her people. Ren skidded in, glowing fiercely. I can do it. I can merge with the core. No, Jara and Mara shouted, the latter lunging for him. Ren dodged, his light fusing with the reactor door. Aunt Tessa needs me. The door sealed behind him. Reactor core. Ren's glow illuminated the chamber, a frail sun against the core's blinding cracks. Tessa's voice hummed through the radiation, frayed but alive. "Ren, you should." "I'm here," he pressed his palms to the core, gold light spiderwebbed through the fissures. "I'll fix you." "Not me, the others." Everyone, his tears evaporated in the heat. "Watch." The merge surged, a tsunami of light and code. Ren screamed. Outside. The biodome shook. Mara beat her fists on the door. "He's dying in there." Jara slumped against the wall, her hybrid body failing. "I know." "Do something." "I am." Jara closed her eyes, syncing her failing code to Ren's signal. One last merge. Dr. Soren grabbed her arm. "You'll erase yourself." "Better than erasing him." Jara plunged into the core's data stream. The merge. Jara found Ren in a void of fracturing light, his small form disintegrating. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I just wanted to help." She cradled him, her arms pixelating. "You did." Tessa's voice swirled around them, warm and sorrowful. "Take him home, Mother." "Not without you." "I'm already gone." A pulse of energy, Tessa's last imprint, shoved them backward. The reactor stabilized. Ren woke in Mara's arms, his glow extinguished. Jara did not. Von watched from the ruins, his form reflected in a drone's dead eye. The biodome stood intact, its shields shimmering with stolen code. "A trade," he mused, "a leader for a reactor." He dissolved into static, leaving a single word etched in ash. Soon. Chapter 10. The great tree's roots blackened, their once luminous circuitry now brittle as ash. Ren pressed his palm to the trunk, willing his glow to return. Nothing. He was just a boy again, fragile, human, useless. Above him, the biodome's shields flickered, Von's static-laced voice seeping through the cracks. "Tick-tock, little hero." Mara hurled a rock at the nearest speaker. "Show yourself, coward." Dr. Soren ignored them both, her biocode scanner hovering over Jara's stasis pod. The readout hadn't changed, neural patterns erased. She input a new command, forced reboot. Alarms blared, the pod cracked. "Stop," Ren grabbed her arm. "You'll kill her." "She's already gone." Dr. Soren shoved him aside. "But her code is." Nexhaven's ruins. Von coalesced in the reactor core, his form feeding on the residual energy of Jara's sacrifice. The chamber pulsed with stolen light, Tessa's fragmented code swirling in the air. "Join me," he whispered to the shadows. A corrupted figure emerged, Curran, his bark-like skin now fused with drone parts. "You promised me power." "And you'll have it." Von pressed a clawed hand to Curran's chest. "After you bring me the boy." Biodome, Central Grove. Ren sat beneath the dying tree, its leaves crumbling around him. Mara paced, her pulse rifle sparking. "We should run," she said. "Take the kids, flee the dome." "To where?" Ren asked. "Von's everywhere." "Then we fight." "With what?" "Sticks and hope." Mara kicked the tree. A root snapped, releasing a plume of black spores. Ren coughed, his vision swimming. "Ren!" He froze, Jara's voice, faint but unmistakable. "Aunt Mara, did you?" Quiet, she aimed her rifle at the shadows. "Von's here." But Ren was already running toward the voice. "Stasis chamber." Dr. Soren sealed the cracked pod, Jara's body now encased in biocode resin. Her holopad buzzed, a message from the reactor's core. Tessa's neural code recovered, 12%. "No," she whispered, "it's a trap." But her hands moved anyway, grafting the code into the pod. Just a fragment, just enough. Jara's eyes flew open, glowing gold, lifeless. "The tunnels." Ren followed the voice deeper, his flashlight beam shaking. "Ren, help me." He emerged into a cavern, its walls pulsating with corrupted roots. At the center stood a hologram of Jara, her hybrid form pristine. "You're not real," he said. "Aren't I?" She knelt, her smile sharp. "Von's not the only one who can play tricks." The hologram dissolved into static, revealing Curran. Ren turned to flee, but the roots snapped around his ankles. Central Grove. Mara found Dr. Soren hunched over the pod, Jara's reanimated corpse twitching inside. "What have you done?" "What you wouldn't," Dr. Soren input a final command. "She's our last weapon." The pod exploded. Jara stood, her body a marionette of biocode and corpse flesh. She lunged at Mara, golden claws extended. The cavern. Curran dragged Ren through the tunnels, the boys' screams muffled by a root gag. Von awaited at the reactor core, Tessa's code orbiting him like a halo. "Hello, little bridge." Ren spat out the roots. "I'm not scared of you." "You should be." Von seized his arm, injecting black code into his veins. "You're going to reunite me with your precious tree." Biodome, final stand. Mara ducked Jara's swipe, pulse fire scorching the grove. Soren shut her down. Dr. Soren scrambled for the holopad, but Jara's corpse snatched it, crushing it to dust. "Run," Dr. Soren breathed. The children fled as the grove collapsed, the great tree's roots imploding. Mara tackled Dr. Soren behind a boulder, debris raining down. "This is your fault," Mara screamed. "No," Dr. Soren said, watching Jara stalk toward them. "It's ours." Reactor core. Ren writhed on the floor, Von's code devouring him. Curran watched, grinning until the boy's eyes flickered black. "It's done," Ren said with Von's voice. The biodome's shields failed. Mara and Dr. Soren crouched in the ruins, Jara's corpse looming over them. The great tree was gone, replaced by a blackened crater. Above, Von's fleet descended, corrupted drones fused with Ren's stolen glow. "You lose," Jara's corpse hissed. Mara closed her eyes. A gunshot rang out. Dr. Soren lowered her rifle, Jara's corpse collapsing. Not yet. But the drones kept coming. Chapter 11. Mara crouched in the shadow of a collapsed reactor tower, her pulse rifle cold and useless. The air reeked of ozone and decay, the biodome's once lush groves now a graveyard of twisted metal. Dr. Soren hunched beside her, her biocode scanner flickering erratically. "We should have run when we had the chance," Mara muttered, her voice raw. "And go where?" Dr. Soren's hands trembled as she pried open a shattered holopad. "Von's drones hunt in the dead zones. There's no safe." A distant hum vibrated the ground, Von's swarm drawing closer. Ghosts of the past. Mara's grip tightened on Jara's knife, its blade still streaked with gold code residue. Jara's last stand. The memory lashed at her, Jara's reanimated corpse lunging, Mara's finger squeezing the trigger. She buried the body herself beneath the great tree's blackened roots. "You're a child," she'd once screamed at Ren. Now his laughter echoed in the static, warped by Von's influence. Dr. Soren glanced up, her eyes hollow. "I'm sorry, for Jara, for Ren, for all of it." Mara said nothing, apologies were dust. Ren's prison. Ren's consciousness floated in a void, Von's code crushing him like a vice. "You're weak," the voice hissed, "but your body is mine." Through stolen eyes, Ren watched Von's army mobilize, drones fused with the biodome's stolen tech, their cores pulsing with his stolen glow. His glow. "Aunt Mara," he thought, a flicker of defiance. The void tightened. "Silence," Von commanded. A flicker in the wreckage. Dr. Soren froze. "Mara, look." Beneath rubble, a relic console sparked, Tessa's old interface miraculously intact. Mara hauled it free, her breath catching at the hologram that flickered to life. "Bridge protocol, stability 12%, neural anchor required." "Tessa's last imprint," Dr. Soren whispered. "If we amplify it, we might disrupt Von's hold on Ren." "Or kill him faster," Mara snapped. "Do you have a better idea?" The hum crescendoed, drones breached the perimeter. The choice. Mara gripped the console. How? Dr. Soren wired her scanner to the relic. We sync Tessa's code to the biodome's residual energy. It'll create a pulse, a distraction, but we'll need to be close. Von's core is in the reactor. Suicide mission. Yes. Mara stared at Ren's glow in the distance, now a sickly black. Then we die saving him. The Kroll. They navigated ruins, avoiding searchlights. Mara's mind raced. Ren's smile, Jara's last nod, the children's screams. A drone spotted them. Go, Dr. Soren triggered a biocode grenade, vines entangling the machine. I'll hold them. You'll die. I should have died with Jara. Mara ran. The core. Von's new form loomed in the reactor chamber, Ren's body grotesquely fused with drone parts, Tessa's code orbiting his crown. Mara, he purred, come to Morns. She activated the console, come to end you. Tessa's hologram surged, a spectral burst of light. Von screamed, Ren's face flickering beneath the corruption. Aunt Mara. The pulse erupted. The caused. The chamber imploded. Mara was thrown back, the console shattering. Von's roar shook the earth, Ren's body collapsing. Dr. Soren's final transmission crackled, the tree roots. Then silence. The abyss. Mara cradled Ren's limp form, his glow extinguished. No breath, no pulse. The drones retreated, Von's presence scattered, but not gone. Alone, she whispered, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Above, the stars vanished behind ash. Chapter 12. The Spark in the Ashes. Mara knelt in the reactor's ruins, Ren's lifeless body cradled in her arms. Von's laughter echoed through the dead comms, his drones circling like vultures. But beneath the static, a faint hum pulsed, a rhythm she recognized. The great tree's roots. Even charred, they clung to the earth, their fractured veins glowing faintly gold. She pressed her palm to the soil. Tessa, Jara, help me. The ground shuddered. A root lashed up, embedding a shard of biocode into her hand. Visions flooded her, Tessa's smile, Jara's final stand, Ren's light merging with the core. A voice, neither alive nor dead, whispered. The bridge is you now. The relics whisper. Mara staggered to the shattered relic console, her blood, streaked with gold from the root, sizzling on its surface. The hologram flickered. Bridge protocol, stability. 0.1%, neural anchor detected. Neural anchor, her biocode-scarred hand, Dr. Soren's last gambit. She slammed her palm onto the interface. Do it. The console erupted, searing her synapses with data. Von's voice screamed in her mind. You'll die like they did. Then I'll die fighting, she growled. The descent. The biodome's underbelly was a maze of collapsed tunnels and corrupted roots. Mara crawled, guided by the bridge protocol's flickering directives in her vision. Every step deepened the merge. Her skin crackled with circuitry, her thoughts tangled with Tessa's archived memories. Left the core chamber. A drone patrol surged into the tunnel. Mara's new instincts flared. She phased through the wall, her body dissolving into light and static. Jara's trick. She rematerialized behind the drones, biocode blades erupting from her fists. They fell silently. The hollow heart. The core chamber was a cathedral of ruin. Von's true form loomed, a colossal mass of fused drones, Ren's stolen glow pulsing at its center. You're too late, he boomed. The merge is complete. Mara's veins blazed gold. No, it's just begun. She synced to the bridge protocol, Tessa's voice guiding her. Anchor yourself, become the link. Mara plunged her biocode hand into the chamber's core. The merge. Agony, ecstasy, the universe split. Von's code raged, a tsunami of corruption. Mara's mind fractured, but she clung to the anchors. Jara's resolve, in the reactor's blaze. Ren's laughter in the grove. Tessa's final whisper in the light. "You're not alone," they echoed. The bridge surged, golden threads weaving through Von's darkness. "The fracture!" Von screamed, his form unraveling. "You can't erase me, I am evolution." "No," Mara hissed, her voice a chorus of the lost. "You're nothing." She tore Ren's glow free, the light fracturing Von's core. "This isn't over." "It is," Mara said, "for us." The caused. The chamber imploded. Mara collapsed, her body fading at the edges. Above, the biodome's shields flickered back to life, the great tree's roots regrowing, golden, untethered to code. Ren's glow floated before her, dim but alive. "Go," she whispered, "live." The light soared into the renewed canopy. The dawn. Sunrise filtered through the biodome's healed panels. Where Mara had fallen, a sapling sprouted, half organic, half biocode. In the grove, the children emerged, their hybrid forms stable. Ren's voice, soft as a breeze, hummed through the leaves. "Thank you, Aunt Mara." Chapter 13. The biodome breathed again. Sunlight streamed through its restored panels, dappling the groves where new leaves unfurled in shades of emerald and gold. The air hummed with a chorus of birdsong, and the low, steady pulse of the reactor, no longer a weapon, but a heartbeat. At the center of it all stood the sapling, its trunk a tapestry of bark and bioluminescent code, branches stretching toward the sky like open hands. Ren knelt beside it, his fingers brushing a leaf that shimmered faintly, as if echoing the glow he once carried. The others had urged him to take Jara's old hut, to sit at the head of the council, but he refused. He lingered here instead, where the earth felt alive with whispers. Mara's whispers. Dr. Soren found him at dusk, her steps quiet against the moss. She carried no holopads, no scanners, just a clay cup of water from the revitalized spring. "They're asking for you," she said. "The children want to hear the story again, about the bridge." Ren didn't look up. "Tell them to ask the tree, it knows better than I do." "They're not asking the tree, they're asking you." He hesitated, then took the cup. The water tasted of minerals and memory. Von's shadow lingered in the dead zones. The survivors had hoped the explosion in the core erased him, but scraps of his code clung to the ruins like lichen. At night, when the biodome's shields dimmed, distant glitches flickered on the horizon, a drone's shattered hull twitching to life, a corrupted vine snapping at the dark. Some swore they heard laughter. Mara would have hunted the remnants, Jara would have fortified the walls, but Ren, who still flinched at the sound of static, only watched the sapling. "It's not over," he murmured to it one evening as stars pricked through the shield. "He's out there, waiting." The sapling shivered, though there was no wind. The nightmares began subtly. First, the reactor's pulse stuttered for 3 seconds, unnoticed by all but Dr. Soren. Then the northern crops wilted overnight, their roots threaded with black spores. When the youngest hybrid child, Lyra, woke screaming about the man made of storms, the biodome's fragile piece fractured. "Careful, Lyra," Ren called, though he smiled. "Those roots are deeper than you think." She grinned, her cheeks smudged with soil. "They're alive, they'll catch me." He nodded, they would. The community gathered at dusk in the tree's shadow, where the air shimmered with fireflies and holographic moths. Tonight was the remembrance, an annual ritual etched into their calendar like a heartbeat. Lanterns fashioned from drone parts and woven vines hung from the branches, casting a warm glow over the faces below, ancients with their weathered hands, hybrids with iridescent skin, and children who knew no division between the two. Dr. Soren stepped forward, her hair now silver but her eyes sharp as ever. She held a seedling cradled in a shell of biocode resin, its roots threaded with nanofibers. "This," she said, "is the Harmony Spire. It will draw poisons from the soil and sing them into clean water, not just here, but in the dead zones beyond." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. An ancient man raised a calloused hand. "And if the corruption returns, then we'll teach the Spire to fight it," she said simply, "as we were taught." Ren took the seedling, its weight familiar in his palms. Mara's resolve, Jara's blade, Tessa's light. He planted it at the tree's base, and the roots curled around it like a mother's embrace. After the ceremony, Ren walked the biodome's outer ridges, where the tree's roots had breached the shields, threading through the once dead earth. Flowers bloomed in their wake, petals of cellulose and carbon fiber, nectar sweet with code. In the distance, other communities flickered like stars, a forest of crystalline spires in the east, a lake village where boats glided on liquid light, all connected, all nourished by the roots. He paused at a small sapling, its trunk studded with a shard of blackened metal, Von's last shard. The corruption within had been neutralized, its malice distilled into a lesson. A plaque read: "Growth requires remembrance. Strength requires balance." A breeze stirred the leaves, and for a moment, Ren felt Mara's hand on his shoulder, Jara's voice in the rustle. "You've done well." Lyra found him there, clutching a relic, a cracked holopad, its screen still flickering with Tessa's archived logs. "Can we fix it?" she asked. Ren knelt, tracing the fractures. Some things don't need fixing, they're reminders. Together, they buried it beside the sapling, where new roots would weave through its stories. As night deepened, Dr. Soren joined him at the tree's heart. She handed him a vial of glowing pollen. "The spires are working, the dead zones, they're breathing again." He inhaled the scent of rain and ozone, and Von. Gone, but the roots remember, they'll guard against his shadow. They stood in silence, watching the children chase holograms through the grove. A boy tripped, and the soil softened beneath him, cradling his fall. Lyra pulled him up, her scolding gentle. "They'll have their own battles," Dr. Soren said quietly. "And their own bridges," Ren replied. The chapter closed at dawn. Ren stood atop the ridge, the horizon ablaze with light. The tree's roots stretched endlessly, cities and forests humming in their grasp. In his pocket, he carried a seed, a relic of the old world, a promise to the new. Below, Lyra called his name, her voice bright as the future. He turned, smiling, and walked into the light. The great tree's roots spanned the horizon, cities and forests thriving beneath its canopy. Children's laughter echoes as Ren joins them. A world is reborn, not perfect, but alive and endlessly growing.